Gamer Type Originals.
It's time for something brief as we examine yet another unbeaten roguelike, Klei's cleverly named Invisible Ink. If I only had one word to describe it, hardcore would fit the bill precisely. Falling squarely in the overlap between a full turn-based strategy game like XCOM and an action roguelike like Enter the Gungeon, your antics here revolve around building a team of crack cyberpunk agents and infiltrating mega-corporations. You see, Invisible Ink's hidden headquarters isn't smashed open, and you, along with a handful of personnel, are all that remains. You now have 72 hours to get Incognita, your decaying AI companion, plugged in before she disappears, and your spy agency's efforts go down the drain entirely. In your quest, you'll trot the globe, accepting missions to gather funds, personnel, weapons, and intelligence, paying careful attention to your transit times. Individually, the game's bright, polygonal characters and overloaded backgrounds that were popular in the early aughts might not have worked, but together, they give the game a quirky and fun look. The levels obscure details sometimes, like that last unsecured door you're desperately searching for, but it stays out of its own way for the most part. Mechanically, Invisible Ink is a masterclass in brutally efficient design. At any point, you have very few resources and plenty of choices to make with equally viable options. To know you screwed up immediately would be too easy. Many of your bad decisions won't be felt until you're a few turns, or even a few missions, far too late to fix them. If you spend 12 hours flying out to BFE to pick up a captured agent, will you have enough money to arm them, or will you simply be tugging them along each mission as a liability? If I knock out this guard, do I spend 2 or 3 turns dumping him in an adjacent room, or do I sprint toward the next objective, hoping he doesn't trip up my party later on? Do I use my precious Incognita points to keep cameras from revealing my agents, or do I steal from another corporate safe? Thankfully, since the missions are turn-based, you have all the time in the world to weigh your options. Since the game keeps very close tabs on your save state, in part to avoid reload abuse, it grants you a rewind option to skip back a turn and, potentially, rewrite a bad move. Unlike a large strategy game like XCOM, you can't simply throw money at replacing agents or equipment like they're idling in bulk at the local warehouse. When an agent dies in the field, they're gone forever. The game is stacked against you from the beginning, and even as it seems like you're making progress, it only becomes more difficult. Invisible Ink is all about escalation. Not only do you have a mere 72 hours to plug Incognita back into a power source, the threat level will increase within each mission as your corporate opponents become aware of your ingress, so you can't linger. Terminals, cameras, and drones will require more hacking points to disable as time progresses, and guards will spawn to hinder your progress. The game will introduce malware demons that guard critical targets, so you roll the dice on a variety of digital penalties, like losing your hacking access entirely for a few turns. The game has guns, and while kills are guaranteed, you'll rarely get more than a single use, so they need to be used sparingly. There's a reason why I never got too far into this game. It's designed to fail you. But Nick, that's what a roguelike does. You fail to gain the personal experience and in-game items you need to do better in the next round. Sure, but games like Splunky, Enter the Gungeon, and Teleglitch are designed to fail you so fast, you keep coming back. It can be an hour or two into a game of Invisible Ink before you realize you need to start over and take better advantage of the early levels. Even if you got some experience, it only takes one wrong move in the first mission before your agency is doomed. It's a big reason why I never fell in love with Pikmin. If I knew I wasn't progressing quickly enough to repair Captain Olimar's spacecraft, I was far more interested in putting the tiny disc back in its case than starting over. Invisible Ink requires an intense and thoughtful gaze at all times. You simply can't screw up at any point because your chances of recovery are dismal. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this design, but it only works in short bursts for me. It's well worth a look, and hey, maybe you'll get more out of it than I did, operator.
Brutal.